Cozy up with the galaxy's most heartwarming holiday tales.
And happy Life Day at the Padawan Library, the Star Wars Junior Novel Podcast. I'm Levi Peretic, and with me, as always, Tim May.
Hello, everyone.
We are celebrating Life Day today, as I said, with the brand new, came out this year, the Star Wars Life Day Treasury. And this is in the same vein of Myths and Fables and Dark Legends. Same author, George Mann, but we got a co-author this time, Cavan Scott, who most notably for the Adventures in Wild Space series, which he also co-authored. And he seems to keep climbing up the story group ladder because he has a major part in the High Republic.
Yes.
Which they are growing the High Republic with Star Wars Eclipse, that new video game.
I saw this. Yeah,
that trailer was pretty intriguing, wasn't it?
Looks interesting. I've been toying with the idea of getting back into video games.
Yeah.
I keep toying with should I buy a Switch? Should I just finally take the plunge? And I'm just I just feel like games are the thing I was able to completely cut from my diet of artistic consumption. Because it's just if I'm going to pick something that takes a long time and takes up days to weeks of my life, I'll cut games and I'll still read books. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or even television. I don't know.
I can't bring new video games into my life. I just replay old video games that
that's then just
play.
That's a relaxation tactic. That's not the same experience. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah, I can play an old game and it's just I know this thing backwards and forwards. You know, I'll play Chrono Trigger or something. I'm getting on my true dork bullshit that you hate, even though you host the Star Wars Junior Novel Podcast. You're like, oh, this person likes anime. What a dork!
I can't be that way anymore, Tim. The public consciousness on anime has so leveled out. I feel like.
Yeah, well, because it's ridiculous to be
there's nothing wrong with it.
To paint with such a broad brush. It's just ridiculous. Anyway,
I saw Demon Slayer at the theater.
That is deranged that you went to see that, honestly. I was talking to a friend of ours when you saw that who is actually into that, and I was like, well, I don't know why you went to see that. And she was in shock that you went to see it. You see movies, you were seeing lots of just weird shit because it was the kind of doldrums of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. As far as movie releases go. So, I wasn't shocked you went to see it, but it is shocking, just in a vacuum, to hear you going to see. And it wasn't that's an anime movie that's, based on, a shonen manga. So it's, the lowest form of, dork shit. I'm just shocked you went to see it. I don't even, I have no opinion on it. I'm not familiar with that series, really, and it seems fine, honestly, but, and I like other things in that vein, but it's it's just crazy that would be the first thing you that would be the first time you're yeah, I'll go see that in the theater. You're fuck Hayao Miyazaki, fuck you Makoto Shinkai, fuck actual film artists working.
Well, it was playing at the drive-in, and it's why, and that was the same drive-in I had to go see the Bon Jovi Experience at. So I wanted to go engage the drive-in before I went to the Bon Jovi Experience.
No, totally fair.
that was playing along with a horror movie called The Resort, and I was like, ooh, a horror movie that came out that I don't know anything about. I'll go see this, and there was for good reason for that. The Resort was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, like there were a bunch of like
very
clearly
bad.
would have been straight to video horror movies that just like were released during like the heart of the pre-vaccine pandemic. It was just like, what is going on? Like why is this in a theater? Like
it's like horror never stopped like producing movies. It's like everything else shut down because of the pandemic, but like cut rate, low budget horror kept going strong.
So this is a Life Day episode. I got a mug full of eggnog, hopefully made from the eggs of that fish lady or whatever from Mandalorian. I'm drinking her eggs made into a nog. Get over it, babies. Babies?
Babies?
Yeah.
Those eggs would have been babies had they been fertilized. So,
but they weren't fertilized.
But that's when it would have been complicated. Yeah, Kroger was eating them then.
Yeah, and that's complicated. It's like, okay, whatever. I don't want to get into it. That was such a dumb controversy. Okay, so, but I'm drinking it out of a Dick Tracy mug that I believe you gave to me. And we had a very famous off-air argument about Dick Tracy a few years ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got a one sheet. I got the original one sheet for Dick Tracy. It's now framed at the top of my stairs, and it's
very nice.
It's the image of Dick Tracy in pseudo silhouette, and it says, "Next summer they're out to get him." And that's all it is. No title, no date. Just so good.
You're such a Beatties-man.
Oh, I love Beatty. Reds is a masterpiece. Like, people should watch Reds. Reds just came out in a new restoration on Blu-ray. It came out on Blu-ray in like 2006, so it was like kind of a shitty transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now there's a new restoration. Looks great. An incredible movie, and I feel like an underseen movie by anyone that wasn't alive when it came out. So I feel like people should check that out. Great movie. David Lean style epic about American communism. Like, what's not to love? It's a great movie. All right, so our plans for this episode are a little just all over the place.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the holiday. This is just so you guys know, this is the last episode for the year. We're going to come back January 14th. Was that the date we decided?
I think so, yeah. I think about 3 weeks.
So, we're taking a couple weeks off, and but, our plans are basically we both mailed each other presents for Christmas, and we're going to open those, and we're just going to talk about our holiday plans, what might be involved in them, movies.
Now I got a question for you, Tim.
Yes.
Is my gift supposed to sound like this?
No.
No?
Right.
Okay. All right. Because I got this and a coworker was like, I don't know what this is, but it sounds broken. Now, I have two suspicions as to what's in this package. It's a framed photo, and this is currently full of broken glass. Or these are Legos. You're such a big Legos fan.
It's not Legos. It's a framed thing. Hopefully the actual thing that is framed is not all fucked up.
Okay. All right.
So
and then
still, go ahead and open it.
Okay. And the issue is you already kind of know what you got too.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about this.
This will spark a conversation that'll be fun. A fun.
Can I tell you what I hope this is?
Sure.
I hope this is a rebuttal to my gift for you last year, where I got you a framed photo of Mickey Rooney.
Oh,
you were so obsessed with Movie Mason.
Oh, that was fun.
Oh,
but
man,
no, can you at least pull the sheet of paper out? Is that possible?
Yeah, but like that, I'm not trying to like get the glass. Oh, I can already tell what this is.
What? You can?
Oh wait, no, I can't. Oh, for a second, I thought it was a 8x10 of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, hang on.
Can't believe how much it
everywhere. What is this?
All right, can you see what it is?
Oh, it's a patent of a theater chair.
Oh yeah, the original it's a replica of the patent for the first theater chair.
Wow.
And like the theater chair that has the seat that pulls up, the classic theater chair. And the reason I got it, for listeners who don't know, is that back when we were in college, you were living in a townhouse.
Yes.
And there was an extra bedroom, and you turned that room into you bought a bunch of old theater chairs and a projector, and you turned that room into a theater that, I won't go into the reasons why it was called this, but it was called Thin Dick Theater.
A catchy name.
And,
very catchy name.
And it was just, I framed it in a cheap Walmart frame that apparently did not hold up.
No, it did not, because the frame itself actually broke too. There's like a crack.
How's the actual? Is the actual sheet okay?
It's fine. Yes.
All right.
Yes,
well, that's good.
I will pull this out and put it in a book and get a new frame for it. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I got the Edison camera also, and that's hanging in my living room. So
very nice.
It was at a local festival over the summer. This guy had made prints of like all kinds of patents and stuff, and I said they were like $5 for 8.5 by 11 prints. So I got that, and I was like, this is a good present for Levi, and I actually went through with it, and then the frame busted in the mail. So I should have packaged it better. It's my fault, probably.
It's okay. I like it. I appreciate it. And I love that we're learning all the new items that you have hanging on the walls in your house today.
I have the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon poster, which is the guy in the desert looking over the desert.
Mm-hmm.
I got that. I've decided I have 2 movie poster size frames, and so I'm gonna. And one is in my living room, and one's at the top of my stairs. And rather than just keep putting them all over the house, I've decided I'm going to buy new posters sometimes and rotate them out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like for a long time I had Not Fade Away in the living room, which is one of my favorite movies of recent times. And I had Mo Better Blues at the top of the stairs, which is where Spike's welcoming you to the bathroom, basically. So because he's like ushering you into his movie. It's a delightful. It was a good time. But now that up there is Dick Tracy, and we got Crouching Tiger down here.
I got you. You're curating.
Yeah. So every 6 months or so, I think I'm going to rotate new ones out. So. That'll be fun. I've decided the one thing I've given up a lot of collecting in a general sense, but the one thing I do kind of enjoy collecting are movie posters. And I was just like, yeah, but I can't display a huge collection of movie posters, but they're pretty easy to store if they're not being displayed. So I just got a few tubes or whatever, and you can put 3 or 4 of them in there. So it's just it's great. It's I could put my collecting energy into that. And it's one thing, just one thing. So
one thing.
Yeah.
That and Blu-rays.
Yeah, well, Blu-rays, that's a different. I don't consider
that doesn't count towards the collecting.
I don't think of that as a collecting thing as much as just these are things. It's like a library. I feel like that's slightly different. Books and Blu-rays and that kind of thing. That's collecting. I'm talking when I know that he's literally collected, but I just don't I don't collect merch or things like that anymore. But I love movie posters. It's the one thing my one true vice. All right, I'm gonna open up my thing. I went to a Christmas party with many of our mutual friends a couple weeks ago. You're in Texas, so you couldn't make it, but you mailed presents to those friends of ours, and they came in very similar packaging to the one that came to my house, and they were both the same thing. So I was just like, I wonder if this is the same thing. But I waited like a good boy because we said we were going to open these on the air. Oh man, this is taped up, baby. There we go. Much better package than mine, I have to say. Come on.
It might get far less fragile.
Okay. It looks like a lot thick. Speaking of movie posters, seems like a lot of little mini posters, perhaps for movies. I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna guess perhaps since I think I know.
You can guess. You can guess right.
Oh, they're little French Dispatch mini posters with. Oh, these are great. You got Owen Wilson, the cycling reporter. Herb Saint Sazerac, great Wes Anderson name, I have to say. And let's see who's on this one.
Is
yes.
it Benicio?
This one, I might actually get this framed and put it up somewhere. This is great. This is the Benicio. This is the concrete masterpiece. My favorite section of the film.
I think that was my favorite of the four.
Yeah. Let's see. We got two more here. We got Revisions of a Manifesto. So this is there's one for each story. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, these are nice.
Yeah, they are really nice. So when I went and saw the movie, the theater had these posters sitting out in the lobby, and I took 16 of them total because I figured you, Dan, Joel, and of course myself. So I walked out with this huge stack of posters, but they are extremely nice.
They are great. I wish they had them in my. Well, I don't care in my theaters, so it doesn't because I got them from you. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Speaking of weird posters at the theater, I was at the local AMC the other day, and they had Book of Boba Fett posters in the lobby that you could take. I took a couple.
Very weird.
It is very weird. Very weird for a show that it is not going to be playing in any theaters.
Yeah. Maybe they'll do the first episode at the El Capitan in Hollywood or something.
Well, the fun thing about the first the new rumors is that, well, this is what Rodriguez said.
And not a rumor, then.
Not a rumor. That all of the footage in the trailers is from the first half of the first episode. If they give anything beyond that, he said from the second half of the first episode on, it'd be too much of a spoiler. That's how big it is. We're in for a twist.
I'm pretty excited for it. When is it? The 27th?
I thought the 29th.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Well, whatever. Sometime in that last week. Yeah, that's exciting. So I was at the theater last night.
Mm-hmm. I was too. Did we see the same movie?
Well, what did you see?
Well, I saw a movie starring Willem Dafoe.
Oh, I saw it. Is it which one?
Oh, Nightmare Alley.
Okay, I haven't seen Nightmare Alley yet.
Okay.
I went to see. Yeah, let's see. Well, last weekend I saw West Side Story, which I loved, and apparently you were more mixed on, so we're not discussing it. We're
not discussing it? You've decided? All right.
Well, no, I'm fine with discussing it. You were the one that seemed very worried that we'd have some huge blow-up about it.
Well, I went on Facebook. There's a group that fellow friend of the show, Franco, is on, and I was like, does anybody else have conflicted feelings on this movie? And it was an overwhelming no, with the exception of nobody likes Elgort as Tony. Right. So I
thought he was fine, but not great.
Yeah, well, this movie, again, just like Baby Driver did, reminded me, it's this guy has a Harrison Ford vibe, and this guy would have been good as Han in Solo. And I mentioned that on the group, which caused some controversy, but then Franco chimed in, and he was like, it's funny you mentioned that, because after I left West Side Story, I was thinking, Alden would have been good for the role of Tony, and it was just if they just swapped those two roles, this could have worked out.
I mean, I don't hate him in the movie. I think everybody else is incredible in it. So I think that, and also Tony is not a character that. I mean, fucking Richard Beymer stinks in the first movie. He's actively bad.
Well, that's I think part of the issue is these are supposed to be 15-year-olds. They're supposed to be very young. And in the first movie, the original movie, they're both in their mid-20s, so you don't buy that at all. But in this movie, Maria seems closer to that age, where Tony does not at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I don't have as much of an issue with the whole Romeo and Juliet thing in general that a lot of people have, where they're I just can't believe it. They only are together for a day. I'm it's a fucking, get in line is what I say to those people. That's the story, you know what I mean? But to me, the biggest thing, whatever you think of him in the movie, the craft on it is absolutely out of control.
The craft is incredible.
It's just I can't believe how I hope Spielberg just decides to make a bunch of fucking musicals for the rest of his career. Like, that would be a great move for him, honestly. Like he should just do like Camelot. Do Camelot. That movie sucks. Give me a good Camelot movie. I'm serious. I'm not being completely dead.
It's the choice of West Side Story, which is like the kind of like baffling. It's like, well, this is a movie that everybody already like loves and respects.
I think the screenplay is incredible, like an incredible adaptation. Tony Kushner, you need to put some respect on Tony Kushner's name, in my opinion. And I just think the craft on it is out of control. I think also like West Side Story, I mean musicals in general, like I just don't have the same issue with the idea of remaking it that I guess some people have. I haven't really followed the conversation. It seems like most people like the movie, but it's generally like, you know, musical forms in particular, especially ones based on shows, I just feel like whatever. Like there have been 100 West Side Stories, 100 like there have probably been like 10 to 12 significant productions of West Side Story, and like whatever. This is only the second movie, and like Rachel Zegler is like way better than Natalie Wood. I know like some of the old Hollywood freaks are going to get mad about that. But Natalie Wood is in Brown.
She's in Brownface. Yeah,
there's that. But she's also just not good. She doesn't do her own singing. Like her accent is terrible. Beyond just being offensive, it's also just bad and grating. So it's just there's a million reasons she's not good. That movie is incredible because of the craft, I think, and because of the performances of the three main supporting characters, who are the characters people care about in West Side Story. This is true if you go back to the original Broadway reviews. Like the lead characters are the least interesting characters, generally speaking. I think there are a couple things they did with the adaptation that I think. I mean, whatever. I think it's a great movie. It's my second favorite movie of the year. I mean, I understand like if it's just about like kind of like comparing it to the original movie, that's fair enough. I think it's great. I think they're both great for kind of different reasons, but they're both great on a craft level. But like, I mean, I think the things that one does better than the other are like very different things. If that makes sense.
For me, it was like, this is very long, and I think some of my issues might be...
It's way shorter than the original.
I think some of my issues might stem from just like I don't think like the music is particularly catchy in West Side Story. West Side Story. Hang on. Let me finish though.
This is such a bad take.
It's fine. Hang on. Let me finish though. But I think like the spectacle of West Side Story from like the beginning, why it was such a huge Broadway success, is because it has an equal balance of music and dance. And it's like the dancing is such a huge part of the show.
Dancing's fantastic in this movie.
The dancing is fantastic in this movie. The only thing
it's like new choreography, which I liked. If they had just done the Jerome Robbins choreography, the movie would be pointless in my opinion.
I got exhausted watching the choreography. I felt these people move so fast. I couldn't believe humans could move this physically fast. And there's this one moment.
You're just mad that you're seeing incredible feats of athleticism. You're like, I can't. I reject this. I reject how good this is. It's basically what you're saying right
I can't move this fast. I hate this. I just found a piece of glass on my seat.
I apologize.
It's okay. That's what I get for having such shit opinions. I get cut.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Relax.
There is one moment, though, and this was pretty early on, that I started crying in the theater, and it was in the gymnasium, and it's this huge wide shot from, like, up above, and everybody spins at once, and all of the dresses, like, open up as they spin, and it's, like, this beautiful, like, sea of, like, it goes from, like, blue to orange, like, it's, like, a perfect gradient of color in, like, one frame, and I was like, that's the most beautiful frame I've seen all year, like, in terms of cinema. Right there.
Yeah, it's incredible. It just has like Janusz. I want to talk about Janusz Kaminski. I guess we're just having the conversation. See, we didn't have a huge fight. Relax. It's fine. I want to talk. Janusz Kaminski has been working with Spielberg since Schindler, and I think the early stuff they did together is like some of the greatest looking movies ever made. Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, AI. There are some people that seem to have like an aversion to the Kaminsky style of the last like decade or so, with like the kind of like heavily like digital coloring and all that stuff. I have less of a problem with it, and I actually think it really works to this movie's favor aesthetically, because like they're clearly going for kind of sort of like an old school Hollywood musical like Technicolor thing, but they're not doing it in such a slavish like let's recreate the exact look, like, but it still creates like, because what they did, they shot this movie on location, unlike the original by and large, but like because of like the way it's treated, it still looks like an old movie. So it's like a really interesting combination of things. And I also just, I mean, there's just incredible. Like, I think the America sequence is like really interestingly reconceived. I like that sequence. I like
the Officer Grupke scene.
That's a great scene.
I think that one is actually better than the original, because like the fact that he threw it like in the police station and they're tearing the police station apart.
Yeah, exactly. The anti, like the more heavy anti-cop overtones of this version were good.
Well, I mean that's classic Steven. He's always got his finger on the pulse in terms of topical.
I don't know about that. I love Spielberg. I'm not sure that's like his calling card, but I thought that's more of a Kushner thing. I think if it's anybody. But regardless, I love that those guys were like they've made Munich, Lincoln, and this, and I think that like that is an incredible collaboration, because they have like a very like they like somehow really work together, because they're not really artists I would associate with each other in terms of like their points of view. And I'm really excited because there's this next movie that Spielberg's making, the autobiography, basically. Is he co-wrote that screenplay with Kushner, the first time he's written a movie since AI. So it's like, I'm very excited for that movie. I think that's going to be like God level Spielberg. I think this is like still like demigod level Spielberg. Like, this is like incredible filmmaking. I can't believe how it's hard to explain why. It's hard to go too deep, but like there has not been a musical that's this well directed in a very long time. I honestly there are other musicals I like, but like I can't think of the last musical that is this well directed. It might be like literal decades we're talking about when I just think every musical sequence is incredible. What's the song? Tony's song. Is it Think?
Maria?
No, Think, when he's like the one on the docks.
Whenever he's at the store.
No, the one on the docks with Riff. That is such an incredible sequence where they're like dodging the holes in the dock and stuff. Just incredible stuff. I think like by the way, the guy that plays Riff, that guy is a fucking star. That dude is incredible. I can't stop thinking about his face. His face is so full. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like such a face full of character. I don't know. I really like it.
I thought he was good, and I thought the brother was good, and I thought Bernardo and is it Ariana is the girlfriend? I thought she was very good.
Anita, you mean?
Anita is that
the character's name is Anita? Yeah, the character that Rita Moreno played in the original.
I'm reading her actual name. Yeah, I thought that character was very good. Which those Bernardo and Anita are the two characters in the original that won Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, they're the best characters. Bernardo, Anita, and Riff are the best characters in the show. It's like they're always going to be better and more interesting than Tony and Maria. I think that's the one thing. Like, I think the new screenplay by Kushner does a good job of kind of deepening the material, giving it like a real sense of place and time and place, and kind of undergirding its themes in a more sturdy way. But it doesn't necessarily solve if you're gonna have these dramatic issues with the basic Romeo and Juliet structure, which I'm just saying, you know, Romeo and Juliet, it works, everybody.
Well, in this though, it's like, oh, you killed my brother. Oh, I forgive you. Let's screw. That to me is like the most uncomfortable moment of the movie. Like that's not how he.
that happens in the original. Basically, they don't
still-
fuck,
it's-
but it's different. Like that's just part of the story. Like and that basically happens in Romeo and Juliet. I think people just it is about teenagers, and it is about like. And it's like it's a music. There's a reason it's a musical. It's about these heightened emotions, expressing these things, these feelings, these real feelings that people have.
But it's about love at fashion. It's about love at first sight. But if you don't buy the love at first sight,
yeah,
then,
but that's not okay. That's fine. Whatever. First of all, their first scene together is great. I don't see how you could not like that scene behind the bleachers. That's a great scene.
It's fine.
Ugh, whatever. You're okay. That's so well done, and she's great. Like what? Like
yeah, she's good.
Yes, I don't know. It's like, and I think he is fine. I get that. I get that people don't like him. That's fine, but it's like, I just think that. I mean, he was like, what, 25 when they shot this movie?
I don't know. But like, you're also gotta like, he's not the face of a killer. Like, this is a guy who's done prison time for almost killing a guy.
Yeah, well, like, I'm just saying, I don't know. To me, he's an improvement over Bamer, so I don't really care that much.
Now what do you think of this opinion, though? Okay, because the original film is set in present day, 1961. So why isn't this movie set in present day?
I think that'd be terrible.
Okay.
This movie, no, I think that would stink. Like, you want to do a new updated Romeo and Juliet set in the present day, and then come up with a new idea. Then, like, to me, like this is like, I think, first of all, that movie's not real. That movie's set in a fantasy world. The original show does not actually take place in the New York of the 50s. It's not like that's not, it takes place in like this kind of like just very basic universe. Whereas this movie, they actually, like, by making it like, well, Robert Moses is leveling the neighborhood to make way for like, high rises and stuff for rich people, like adding that kind of texture from the actual moment when this happened, it also resonates with today because that stuff is still happening. This movie does lots of stuff with like, what's the name of the one character that's kind of a tomboy in the original movie?
Oh yeah.
This movie does tons of new stuff with the material that doesn't need to bring it into the present day to make it relevant, in my opinion. I think that's a weird take.
All right.
I'm just saying, unless you think you can't just learn from anything from the past. You think that...
Well, I only brought that up because I've been trying to rewatch the original on TCM right now, but it crashes. The movie, like the app, will completely crash after about a half hour of watching.
No, this is why I have Blu-rays, by the way.
And it won't resume my place, so every time I have to fast forward through it. But it's so funny, on the Watch TCM app, they have about 10 different Ben Mankiewicz intros for the film, so every time I go to rewatch it,
once a month,
they air it all the time, and he just starts repeating the same spiel over and over again. He doesn't even like rewrite a new bit, and he always ends it with the winner of 10 Academy Awards and 11 if the Academy would recognize snapping. That's like, it's not even like a good joke. It's such a bad joke, and he says it every single time. He like commits every single intro to that joke. He thinks it's hilarious.
I don't know. I mean, the original is one of my favorite movies of all time. So like this, I was not expecting to like it. I expected to like it because it's Spielberg making a musical. I knew it, at least on a craft level, be good. But I honestly think it's like in some ways as good as the original movie, and that's in other ways not. But
I think
to me, like that's
the consensus is like they are very like on par with each other.
They're both worthy to me. Like I'm fine with both of them existing, and like that. No, I understand. I'm in the majority on this, and like I'm not trying to come at you. Like I just, but yeah, I don't know. Like to me, it's just like a lot about movies lately, and we talked about this with Franco when he was on the first time, I think. A lot of this now, I'm just like, I love watching people fucking work. People do their jobs really well. And I mean, people behind the scenes. And like, there's almost no better opportunity for that than a Spielberg movie, and a Spielberg movie that's like this ambitious in terms of what it's trying to do, like on a filmmaking level. I guess I didn't know. I just learned what your specific problems were with the movie, and they're fair enough. Whatever. I don't agree with all of them, but I understand where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But when I first learned that you were like underwhelmed by the movie, I won't tell that whole story, but But I learned from a third party that you were
a aforementioned friend of the show,
that you were kind of conflicted about the movie. He said you hated it, which you clearly don't. But when I first heard that, I was just like, I just remember when Ready Player One came out, which I like more than a lot of people. But I remember you being, like, mad that people were talking shit because you're just like, he just makes good movies. Like, why can't people just appreciate that, like, this craft is great? Like, you know what I'm saying? Which I agree. Mm-hmm. Although I was just like, that's a weird one to die on a hill for. Like, probably one of his, like, 5 worst movies.
It is definitely in the lower arsenal.
I just thought of that, and I was just like, and he's underwhelmed by this? Like, what is that?
And you know what's crazy about that to me is, like, going to the drive-in because they had multiple screens. I've watched without audio lots of Free Guy, the smash success Free Guy starring Ryan Reynolds, and that's just Ready Player One. It's the same thing. It has even like the same kind of like pop culture references in it. And yet Free Guy is embraced. Ready Player One, forgotten, in my opinion.
I feel like I think there are people that think Free Guy is like the most evil movie ever made. So I think I think you can find that contingent.
Well, you know what? I think there is something very evil going on at the former 20th Century Fox Studios, in my opinion, because you have Last Duel, which is one of my favorite movies of the year, which huge tank, great movie, huge tank. You have West Side Story, another major tank of a film, and
I mean, we'll see. It could make a decent amount over the. Yeah.
But then you have Last Night, Nightmare Alley, which I'll say
they opened it up opposite a Spider-Man movie.
Opposite Spider-Man. Not only that, it's Disney. Disney opened this movie against their own other movie, and it's like, of course this movie's going to fail because this is.
How is Nightmare Alley, by the way? I'm seeing it this week.
Good, very good.
Okay,
I actually didn't know that it's another adaptation of a book, and there's another Nightmare Alley.
I knew that. Yeah, it just came out.
I didn't know that, but I went into it. Well, okay, I told you I was going to see West Side Story again.
Yeah, that's why. Okay, so I heard from Franca that you hated the movie, quote, and it was after you had told me you were going to see it a second time. I was just like, if he hates it, I doubt he's seen it a second time.
Okay, so I'll explain this. So we got there late because we went out to eat beforehand, and they were very slow getting our food. And so we missed the opening, the big opening number. I walked in on the end of the opening number. I figured it's great, yeah. And
well, it's great because they open on, like, a coming soon, the Lincoln Center thing. And then it tilts down and you see like just the rubble of all these like tenement buildings. It's incredible. I was like, my God.
I knew I was missing something that would have just shot the movie sky high. There it is.
That's so much context.
It is. It really is. Yeah. So anyway, Mel wanted to see it again, and we were going to go last night. There was a 6 o'clock screening of the movie. We got off at 5, and we were just like, well, there's no way we can make it. The next screening was at 10 p.m.
Oh, and it's a long movie.
So we would have got out at 1 a.m. So we planned on the 10, and we went and ran all our errands for the week, and but it was still only like 8:30 by that point, and it's like, man, I don't want to like hang out in town for another 2 hours to then have to sit 3 hours for West Side Story.
Fair.
But Nightmare Alley was playing.
Only like 5 minutes shorter than.
Only 5 minutes shorter, yeah. It's the same kind of length movie, and that's the criticism of the movie, is that it's too long. I didn't think it was too long. I enjoyed it.
I love long movies. I'm kind of like, I want movies to be long. I'm kind of in that place in my life right now.
But I'll say I didn't see Spider-Man, but I'll assume it's the better Willem Dafoe movie that came out on December 16th, 2021.
Sure. Well, it probably is.
And hang on, I will say this. I had something that happened to me that has never happened before in a movie. I had digital glitches throughout the movie. I had audio issues and I had frame skipping. Like, and it wasn't, of course, throughout the whole movie. It maybe
Is this
only
a chain theater or an independent
Yeah, it's an
theater?
AMC theater.
Okay, I was going to say, if it's a chain theater, fucking call them out. Like,
Yeah, I did.
independent theater, I'd feel
I
bad
told the
about it.
busboy at the end as he walked in, I was like, hey, there were issues with this. And like, I can understand if it's like the hard drive issue, you know, but it's like, I hope this
Yeah,
isn't
the
like
hard drive just might be fucked
a
up,
national thing. But yeah, it's the first time I've ever had digital projection issues in a movie. And granted, it only probably amounted to like 10 seconds of, you know, but it's noticeable when the audio like cuts or when the frames jump. Yeah, it was.
I remember, I won't name the theater because they're not a big chain theater, but there was a theater in Cleveland that me and a friend of the show who'll never be on the show went to see Chirac, the Spike Lee movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they had that movie shot in scope, and it was being projected onto a screen that hadn't been properly matted, but not just like, it wasn't just that you got the bars, they projected it at full size, so like the sides of the screen were on the walls.
That's so bad.
Yeah, it was so bad. I was like, what is going on? Like, and it's not the normal theater I go to in Cleveland. Cedar Lee Theaters, shouts to them. They're solid. I'll probably be seeing Licorice Pizza there next week. But regardless, as far as Spider-Man, I'm not going to get deep into it. I was shocked by how much I enjoyed it.
Oh, okay, all right. Well,
I'll say that, like, and as longtime listeners know, I have a deep, deep, deep antipathy, hatred for the first two MCU Spider-Man movies. So I'm not saying it's a great movie, but it was a fun time. I had a good time.
Mike, here's my most curious thought of the movie. Does Thomas Hayden Church get shafted harder than Wedge in Rise of Skywalker?
He's barely in it. I mean,
that's what I figured.
He's in Sandman form for the vast majority of it.
That's what I figured. I figured he's probably in the movie for 2 seconds.
I'll say that Alfred and Willem get a lot of good stuff to do, and I guess, you know, I don't want to spoil things, so I shouldn't, whatever.
Okay. Does Venom show up?
Not really. He shows up, but it's a post-credit scene. I'm just gonna...
Damn, I wanted Venom to show up.
Someone else shows up, I was very happy to see, I'll say.
Oh, wow, I'm excited for that. All right.
Not a cameo is what I'll say about that. Big role.
It's Giamatti as Rhino, right?
I wish. No, I had a good time with it. I mean, listen, I'm a huge Spider-Man freak, and I have not really enjoyed these movies, but this movie felt like it's like, we need to give this character the actual weight that Peter Parker needs. And so they put him through his paces, and I appreciate it. And by the end, I'm like, I'm excited for another one of these if they want to make another one of these. Like, so good for them.
You know what I'm impressed by? The fact that Venom is still in theaters. Like,
it's still at our theater.
The two theaters I have near me are both still screening Venom. So
you see that Paul Thomas Anderson, big Venom fan?
Yes, I did see that he's a big Venom fan. It's the romantic comedy of the year. Come on.
But yeah,
I saw a meme because Barack put out his top movies for the year.
What did he have? Do you have Venom on there?
No, Venom wasn't on there. Last Duel was on there. West Side Story was on there. But somebody had photoshopped it because it was like a square with a list of movies. Sure. And somebody had photoshopped it, took all the movies off of it, and put Venom, Let There Be Carnage on it.
I wish it was on there. If that was on there, I would be... I'm glad Last Duel's on there. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm glad Last Duel's on there too. We need somebody. We need somebody big to recognize that's like one of the movies of the year. So
his lists are hilarious. He just has like very normal like I'm a consumer of culture at a high level taste. You know what I'm saying? Like a very normal like I keep my ears and eyes open taste. Like that's all, I don't mean like middle brow. Like I don't want to be like it's like there's always some weird choice. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. But it's very weird. Anyway,
he's probably a member of the Academy, so you know he's just doing his lobbying.
Yeah, probably. what was that? Oh, and yeah, so I got to see Nightmare Alley. I'm going to try to see that this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Matrix
very
next.
soon. I can't believe how close it is.
I'm actually like off that day that movie comes out, so I will definitely see that one opening day. Very excited. I saw, oh my god. So
I don't want to know anything.
I was flipping through channels
things.
and Neo and Trinity were on the Kelly Clarkson show, and they had submitted the audience had submitted questions, and the question, Kelly misread the question, and she thought the question said, have you ever received an awkward gift in front of your grandmother, like an inappropriate gift in front of your grandmother? However, the question actually was that she misread, have you ever received a sex toy from your grandmother? Was like the question. So like Trinity and Neo there are sitting there looking kind of uncomfortable. I love that you're calling them
Trinity and Neo. You don't know Carrie-Ann Moss's name. You need to put some respect on Carrie-Ann Moss right now.
When they're together, they're Trinity and Neo. They were sitting right next to each other. But they were looking very uncomfortable. And she's like, no, I've never received like an awkward gift in front of my grandmother. And then it took Keanu to be like, I think you misread the question.
That's incredible. Yeah, I've seen that. I see that they've been doing lots of press, but I'm honestly trying to avoid literally anything about the movie until I see it. I saw the trailer. I've seen the trailer a bunch, the first one. And then I did wind up seeing the second trailer because it was in front of West Side Story. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm so excited for that. And then
Licorice Pizza.
And then Licorice Pizza. I think that's going to be the big... There's other movies that I want to see, but like those are the kind of big tent theatrical movies for the rest of the year. So.
I gotta lower my expectations for Licorice Pizza because it's like I've hyped this movie in my head so long because I feel like I hyped House of Gucci for so long, and
it's gonna be better than House of Gucci.
It's gonna be better than House of Gucci, I'm sure, but I want to lower my expectations for when I do get there to be blown away.
I think maybe that was part of the problem with West Side Story.
Okay. Let's talk a second. Why is David Bowie music, ever since that Licorice Pizza trailer,
why are you mad?
They are putting so much, not about that, because that trailer's great. That trailer deserves an award.
Right? Give it Best Picture, just the trailer.
Just Best Picture trailer, I agree. But that Lightyear trailer has a Bowie song.
Starman in it, yeah.
Yeah, Starman, and there was some other trailer that I can't even remember.
His music is very cinematic. It's not that weird.
It's very cinematic, but that's like the big trend.
You can throw a Bowie song on pretty much anything, and it seems incredible.
It seems incredible. Yeah, Lightyear. They're trying to like.
I'm actually kind of excited about Lightyear. But I like Toy Story is one of the things I have like the biggest weakness for as far as like franchises go. Mm-hmm. Toy Story is the first movie I saw in the theater, and it matters to me in a way that very few movies do. And I love all four of the movies. I was a huge fan of 4. And this movie, I think, is like a kind of a fun idea. So I'm fine with them doing it. Whatever. I'm glad that the Pixar movies are theatrical again starting next year. I don't know if you saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really disrespectful for them to be like, well, our movies, the Disney animation movies, get theatrical releases, but the Pixar movies are straight to streaming. Soul at least came out like still pre-vaccine and all that, but Luca in June, I was like, why is this? But like, why did Raya and the Last Dragon come out in theaters in March, but then Luca
did not? Yeah,
straight to Disney Plus in June. It was just disrespectful. And Luca, I need to still watch. I still keep forgetting to watch it.
Well, this is the thing. Disney is like continually disrespecting like the true auteurs. The Pixar brand has always been the auteur brand of the animation in terms of Disney. And no shots at Raya. I thought Raya was very good.
Solid movie.
Solid movie. But like this thing they just did to Guillermo del Toro with Nightmare Alley is like, it's ridiculous.
And he just won Best Picture with his last movie.
I agree. He shouldn't have to go against Spider-Man, and his movie's going to be a huge flop because it went against Spider-Man. Yeah. So it's bullshit.
Or they should open it slow. Like, people complaining. I understand. Like, I'm frustrated that I can't see Licorice Pizza right now. But guess what? That movie's going to ultimately, the narrative of that movie, no matter how much it makes, is that it's going to just build and build and build over each weekend. Mm-hmm. And, like, even if it winds up making the same as, like, Nightmare Alley, like, it's going to seem more successful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
It's putting the filmmaker in a better position to make their next movie. So it's just, I mean, Del Toro will get to make another movie, but it's just like, yeah, I agree. It's fucked
totally
up.
disrespectful to him.
Yeah.
It's such disrespect. And releasing Spider-Man the week after West Side Story is like slightly disrespectful to Steven, too.
Yeah, I would say so. It's weird. Like, I mean, I like Spider-Man. I feel like, and it's going to save theaters for the next month. Like, it's going to, it was absolutely packed last night. Like, it was insane. And I was like, the entire parking lot was full, and I was like, maybe 10 cars here are for not Spider-Man, I think. So it's like, yeah, like, it's gonna do insane business.
We were the only people in Nightmare Alley. We were the only people, and the parking lot was packed. I walked into the theater, and there were 3 children dressed as Spider-Man, and each one of them were in a different Spider-man costume. I'm like, oh shit! It's
I think
like
people
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Because Marvel itself has become, like, Marvel Studios has become such a dominant cultural force. I think people forget that Spider-Man individually is by far the most popular superhero.
I agree.
It's not. It's like, it's not really close. Actually,
it's him and Batman. Like,
him and Batman. I don't want to shaft Batman. We'll see how the Batman does, but it's like Spider-Man. Like, I think people forget that the first Raimi Spider-Man movie is like one of the biggest movies ever made.
I know.
I think, like, that movie was absolutely a sensation. Like, I think people forget about this because there was that period where people tried to diss the Raimi movies, which was disgusting. Disgusting people trying to diss those great movies. But man, we're going long here. I didn't think we were going to talk about movies at all. So let's listen. We had a very fun, jovial, jaunty back and forth about West Side Story and our disagreements about it. I thought that's the way to do it. We had a good time.
We did. And we talked about our movies that we're seeing. We talked about the movies we're going to see with our holiday plans. What else? Yeah. What other holiday plans you got?
Well, I normally we'd be having that party I mentioned earlier this weekend, but that wound up getting rescheduled for a variety of reasons to much earlier this month. But I will be, let's see, my brother's girlfriend, her birthday is December 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve. So on Sunday, we're going to do some stuff with some friends. And then we're going to, let's see. Yeah, I mean, obviously, busy movie-going time, but also, I'm excited for the Christmas morn itself. Got some good presents. Oh, I got you called this out for me. I appreciate it. I got my brother. Wait, I can't say that. Because he listens to the show. I just realized, I was like, I got my brother this thing. No. So whatever. And then, but I think you might know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so got him that, which I'm very excited for that. And I got, all kinds of fun stuff. Not holiday plans, but me and friend of the show, Sam McCauley, are going to see ABBA Mania at the newly restored Warner Theater in Erie, Pennsylvania. Damn.
That's such a nice venue. I love the Warner.
It's gonna, I assume, a fairly high-end ABBA tribute concert. Very exciting. We're gonna be like the youngest and straightest men there. And I'm just so excited. He's going to freak out. He has been so subdued on the podcast, and this bums me out because he's such a crazy he's a wild man. He's an absolute wild man. And it's going to be so fun to go see that with him. That's in February. So yeah. I'm also thinking they're doing the Erie Philharmonic is doing one of those live score things with Star Wars in May. So I'm thinking about maybe doing that. Yeah. That'll be kind of fun. Yeah.
Let's see. What do I got going? I got on the 19th, I have the workplace Christmas party. We're doing a Secret Santa for that.
You already got your gift for that?
I already got my gift for my Secret Santa. Yep. It's a bottle of rum chata. because we had to. It's an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, I know I don't drink, but come on. Even if I don't know what it is, which I don't, I can figure it out from context, like the word rum, for example.
The word rum. So we got the company Christmas party. And then on the 24th, there is a company potluck for all the guests of the campground. So they'll all bring a lot of food, and I'll only have to make one dish, and I'll get to eat like a king for an afternoon. I work on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, but I get paid time and a half. That's the first time I've ever had a job that pays time and a half for holidays.
I feel like double should be.
I think so too.
People get, like, for Christmas Eve and Christmas in particular, if for people that celebrate those holidays, that feels like a double pay to me.
Well, if to make it worse, I only get paid time and a half on Christmas, not Christmas Eve. Total BS. At least I get food on Christmas Eve. But so that's my holiday plans, and then go to see The Matrix and Licorice Pizza.
Very exciting.
And probably see West Side Story again.
You should
somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm hoping to get to it again, but it's just like everything gets so crammed at the end of the year. It's such a pain in the ass. Like, and it, like, there are movies, like, frankly, I hate to say this. This is embarrassing for me when I say this. I kind of want to see the Spider-Man movie again.
See, now I got to convince Mel to go, because I can't convince Mel. She didn't want to go last night, and I was like, well, Night Morale, you know.
Yeah, listen, if she doesn't want to go, that's fine. I'm just saying, and it's hard for me. It's hard for me to, like, justify this, because, like, in some ways, it's a Marvel movie, whatever. But, like, I'm like, oh yeah, like, their bullshit can work on me in the right circumstances. Like, you know,
yeah.
And, like, you know, I just love Spider-Man so much, Levi, and I love. I mean, look, I love a certain. A certain character played by a certain actor so much that I mean, I don't care about spoiling for you, but if anybody's listening,
I think I know who you're talking about.
Like, I love like that the project in which that actor appears as that character initially is like one of the most significant movie experiences of my life. I might have mentioned this specific film earlier in this episode. All right. It is Life Day.
You're obviously talking about Topher Grace, so that's
not in it. I can confirm he doesn't pop up.
See, that's what I wanted to happen in this movie.
You wanted Venom to meet Venom?
I wanted Venom to meet Venom, and then I wanted Tom Hardy to kick Topher Grace's ass. That's what I wanted in this movie.
I had a great time. It's not. I don't want to say I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but I had a good time. It's not a great film.
Yeah.
But it is like the kind of like to me it's the best Marvel movie since, again, not that this is a huge endorsement, the best Marvel movie since Endgame.
But that's like, it was a similar height. Like those are those movies at their height.
To me, it's a similar experience to that movie. Like in that, like, I don't think it's like good in any traditional sense, but like it was a fun time at the movies. And as in particular a Spider-Man fan, I've loved Marvel Comics my whole life, but Spider-Man is my guy, and I love Spider-Man more than anything. It's the only thing I still keep up with in any real way. Like, and it's one of the only nerd properties, besides, unfortunately, Star Wars, as I prove here on this podcast, that I have, like, absolute loyalty to, or, like, I gotta see any new Spider-Man movie. You know, I still read the book. Like, it's the only thing I still have that with. Like, I've literally given up everything else. Like, I pick and choose my spots on everything else. But, like, it's just my, listen, Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie since the Raimi trilogy, but this is the best live-action Spider-Man movie.
All right. I feel like when I was walking into the theater last night, I feel like I missed a major opportunity. Remember that Marty shirt that I have, the Marty Scorsese shirt I showed you guys? I should have worn that.
Oh, that would have been great.
That would have been great, yeah.
I would love that.
Classic hater.
I mean, listen, I am a hater of Marvel. I talk shit nonstop. I still haven't even seen the Eternals, which is supposedly like them trying to make a real movie. I still haven't seen that movie. I thought Shang-Chi was okay. Actually pretty good and then terrible. Like, that's the problem. Like, the last 30 minutes suck.
I haven't actually seen anything since Endgame.
Yeah. Well, I've seen all the movies. I don't watch the shows. That's a step too far.
Yeah, it's too much.
Don't ask me to do that. That's what
and
I
the
say.
only one I'd be interested in is Hawkeye, and that's only if Linda Cardellini's in it, but that's a personal preference there.
Relax. I'm not. I mean, whatever. We had our horny nights back in college watching.
Talking about Linda Cardellini, we sure did.
Back when she showed up on Mad Men, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Very embarrassing. All right, let's.
Yeah, let's move on that point. Happy Life Day.
Happy Life Day. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit. Probably just a little bit.
About
the Life Day Treasury by George Mann, Kevin Scott, and Grant Griffin illustrator, of course. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Padawan Library. It's Life Day. We're having a good Life Day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we caught talking about our holiday plans, and like this book, the Star Wars Life Day Treasury. Now, this is from much of the creative team, plus Kevin Scott of Myths and Fables and Dark Legends, both books we've discussed on this show before. So you guys can go back and check out those episodes. So it's a book of short stories that all are about various different winter celebrations across the galaxy. Life Day, the Wookiee celebration, is apparently spread throughout the galaxy after the fall of the Empire. But this is obviously talking about many different winter traditions, winter holidays. So I picked out 3 stories that were interesting for me to talk about. I don't think we need to talk in depth about every story.
I don't think we need to talk in depth about any of the stories.
I don't mean in depth, but I think some of the stories are like, actually we could have something of a conversation about, and other ones are basically just
okay.
kind of
Well,
trifles.
why don't we'll go through them one by one.
All right.
Yeah, we'll go through them one by one. We'll give a brief summary, and if you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it.
All right.
So the first story. I just want to shout to Grant Griffith. Grant, in my opinion, he is I love his illustrations.
They're great.
And
they're
this book is in line with that. So
yeah, they're great, and it's a nice, handsome book, by the way. It's probably the nicest of these 3 books in terms of its production.
And it's the size of Myth and Fables.
Indeed. It's got that nice cloth-bound thing that Dark Legends has, so it's like the best of both worlds,
It is. Mm-hmm.
The best of both worlds, like the Van Halen Greatest Hits compilation, that's both David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar. I have too much information rattling around.
It's okay, because I'm glad I have something that's not Hannah Montana when I think of Best of Both Worlds anymore. So I appreciate that.
Best of Both Worlds is also a classic Star Trek Next Generation 2-parter. So you got that too. There's another one. So the first one is called Coruscant Solstice. By the way, before we get into this, I was looking for an image of this cover for our YouTube page, and when I typed it into Google, there was a thing, Target edition. So is there a Target exclusive of this with additional stories?
Oh no, hang on, there might be. Let me search.
I'll say we both have the normal edition for us.
Yeah,
the plebes edition.
Let me see if there's not more stories. This idea, that was the biggest controversy in Dark Legends, in my opinion. Okay, I don't think there are additional stories in this one.
Just an alternate cover?
Just an alternate cover.
All right, that's good. Which image do they use for that?
Let me search that right now. Target exclusive. It looks like the same cover. It doesn't look like there's like a different cover for it.
Interesting. Well, whatever. A Coruscant Solstice. So here we have a Jedi who's just been out roaming the galaxy. He gets promoted to the Jedi Council, and he's back on Coruscant for the first time in many years, and he's very happy to participate in the Coruscant Solstice festivities for the first time since he was a Padawan. But he can't enjoy it too much because he's a Jedi. You can't be seen riding around on like haystacks or whatever the thing.
Yeah, I remember there is like a moment he's like watching people have a good time, and he's like, I can't do that.
Like I'm not sure that's not. Okay. I think that's like a weird interpretation of the Jedi, but okay.
I also like, too, that Coruscant has hollow snow. Like, it's not real snow. It's holographic snow that somehow piles on the streets.
California, you should look into it. Southern California. You get all these, like, L.A. screenwriters whining about not having snow like they did back in the Northeast. It's like, you should have just stayed in the Northeast, motherfucker, instead of moving out to hell in Southern California.
Yeah, I know. It's becoming more and more of a desert every day.
Yeah, so, like, yeah. Anyway. All right. That one was okay, I thought. Like, that didn't really have much of a...
In this one, too, I think every story has kind of like a classic Christmas motif to it in terms of like the form of the story. So in this one, he sees a pickpocket. He goes after the pickpocket. Turns out the pickpocket boy is like being bullied by some other pickpocket boys, and the kid has a dying mother at home sort of thing. And he goes and he shares a meal with them, and then he invites them back to the temple for a meal and new clothes. So it's like this nice little nice
kind of like the first chapter of Little Women, that kind of
yeah
story.
Exactly. Yeah, we have to go visit the dying children, bring them half of our meal. I can't remember the name of that family. What is the name of that family?
Damn it, my copy of Little Women is out of reach right now. I don't feel like I can see it from here. Oh man, we should do another March, Aunt March's Library sometime.
I agree.
All right, so the next one is called An Old Hope. So funny. This is droid bullshit. I don't remember any of this.
Okay, this one I thought. Okay, I kind of liked this one because it's like it's droids. It's droids in the sandcrawler, and like one of the droids has like no hope of getting out, and they talk about like the oil man who's like the Santa Claus character. But the problem with this story is the inclusion of Obi-Wan. Yeah. This idea that Obi-Wan sees this astromech droid on the street, then the astromech droid gets kidnapped, and then Obi-Wan goes on a personal mission to save this astromech droid. He wouldn't do it. Yeah,
he doesn't like droids, and like even beyond that, like he would just not think of that as like a big deal. Like that, he would just be like, "Oh, okay, whatever." The droid was taken, and like, this is my problem with all of this stuff that I've talked about on the show before. It's like you're by like complicating the like the droids and like how like sentient are they and all that stuff. It makes many of our heroes into bigots or slaveholders, and like it's just like it's such a like. Like,
I don't think this story does that.
No, I'm not saying the story doesn't. The story is trying to retroactively make him not that. Mm-hmm. But like, that's my point. It's just like, although I guess he's kind of a slave catcher. Yeah, like I got to go return this droid to its owner.
Yes, that's what he's doing here.
Which, by the way, like. In the context of Star Wars, as it like 3PO and R2 are on the edge, but like they're the only droids presented with any personality in the original trilogy, really. Mm-hmm. Like that's conscious because they're not creating a droid race that's being owned by humanoids. Like that's my biggest issue. That's my biggest problem with it. It's like I just don't think Star Wars, as we've learned to love and accept it, is at all equipped to deal with these questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like that's my biggest problem with it. It's not that it's not. There are plenty of science fiction stories that deal with these exact things that I like and think are interesting, but like, it's just not. It does not fit in the world of Star Wars.
Here's where I think Star Wars needs to like draw the line, because I just rewatched New Hope.
Yeah.
And rewatching New Hope, there are so many moments of it that like I look at in awe and wonder. And the sandcrawler scene where the droids like all come to life, it's so whimsical and so much fun. But the thing I got to say about that is we know in A New Hope that droids feel pain. Because 3PO is always complaining about how his joints feel.
And they get tortured in Return of the Jedi, too.
Yeah, R2 they get tortured. R2 gets stunned, and when R2 gets stunned, he lets out a whine of pain. So I think we need to just stop. Lucasfilm just needs to stop the line there. Like, the droids feel pain. That needs to be all.
They feel like physical pain.
Yes, you know.
I mean,
just like
I'm fine with it. There are some droid characters. Obviously, 3PO is a person.
Yes.
Like, you can't really get around that. 3PO is a person, and R2 is clearly, not a person, but a fully sentient being. So you can't get around that, but when those are the only droid characters, and the rest of the droids that you see are all kind of serve like one or two functions, then it kind of is like, well, these are special characters. And I know that's like, and this is the problem, because when you turn them into a minority group that's oppressed, then you start getting these uncomfortable, in my opinion, like mappings onto real life people, and then mapping artificial humans onto real like human minority groups. I think is kind of fucked up and weird. like I don't know. Listen. I'm just talking about why is it that it's like, obviously Blade Runner. I love Blade Runner, but like I think it has no place in Star Wars. I just I think AI science fiction is not what I want out of Star Wars, and I think it complicates the universe in a way that really actually kind of breaks the universe as we think of it. Like, That's why they cannot keep going down that road. I think it's a really bad like road they keep going down.
It's a slippery slope. And not only that too, but if you want to deal with those type of topics, we have other alien races that you can
who are
do
like
that on.
Flesh and blood, like, and there are pitfalls to that kind of thing too, but like much less so than like, well, this is the same as like an engineered species or whatever. I don't know. Like, it's complex. It's
complex.
I don't want to like go too deep on it, but it's just like this made me think of that, because like the Obi-Wan thing, like they're trying to rehab Obi-Wan's anti-droid image, and it's like, I never had a problem with Obi-Wan's droid thing, because you never see him like treat a droid like the way people treat 3PO poorly is the way they would treat him if he was a human that behaved that way.
Exactly.
You know what I'm just saying? Like, it's the exact same way. Like, so it's like, they're not like you never see these characters like sadistic with droids, and obviously, to me, they should not rise above the level of pets, I guess. Like, mostly. There can be exception, like featured droids that are like, but like, I think like pets to me is the highest level of sentience that I want from your garden variety droid that's not like a special character, like where it's like, well, we need a droid in this crew or whatever. Like, I get like, K2SO or someone like that, like, is a fun character, but it's like, and I even like what's her face from Solo, even though she's representative of all of these problems, but
she is the full embodiment of this. Yeah.
But still, so it can be done in a way that I kind of like, but whatever. It's
After this recent rewatch of A New Hope, though, I shed a few tears, and I said to Mel, I was like, man, I just love R2-D2 so much.
Oh,
R2-D2 is the best.
He's the best character.
And the way
such
George...
a helpful. He's so helpful. He's so resourceful. He's just so darn cute.
He's so darn cute. And the way George has weaved him into the whole storyline with the prequels, what blows me away is, and this is the argument for R2D2 being the main character of the entire
Oh yeah,
franchise,
of course.
is if R2D2 does not save the Queen's ship in Phantom Menace, nothing happens. The whole saga hinges on R2D2 saving that ship. So that's just perfect. Anyway, let's move past this controversial story into the Kindling, which I felt was one of the most insignificant stories in the book.
Yeah, it's about a Twi'lek, and I like Twi'leks.
There's two of them, and they're running from the Empire.
Yeah, and
there's some winter goings on. Some don't know what the name of the holiday is. Something about a myth. Okay, here we go. It is.
They're like working for what is it? It's like a myth where these two Twi'leks are working for this Sith Lord Darth Quellis.
And something about an old lady who saves all the Twi'lek people by carrying like little kindling pouches.
Yeah, I read the first half of this book up through this story like a week ago, so this one has fully slipped.
This one I read right before bed, so this one has mostly slipped too.
The next one though is interesting. The Krulok. Kroolok.
I think this is my favorite of the story because this is just an Ewoks episode.
Yeah, it's about Wicket and his boys.
Mm-hmm. His brother's there, who is I can't remember his brother's name.
Weechi, I believe.
Yeah, I think it is Weechi, and you also have Kinsa, who is Cheap Chirpa's daughter. Also another character in it, and Lo Gray is also in the story. I love Lo Gray.
Yuzums, Gorfs, Duloks.
There were definitely references to like the Ewoks movies in this story too, which is like what I loved about it. So basically, snow has fallen on Endor, which apparently does not happen often, and Wicket wants to go hunting, but Wicket is still just like a treeling or a worker, and he's too young to do it. His brother gets to go with their dad and Lo Gray, but he cannot. So Wicket decides he's going to go out at night and he's going to go hunting. Well, meanwhile, Lo Gray and Cheap Chirpa, they spin this myth early on in the story about the Krulok. And the Krulok is a snow-dwelling creature that lives on Endor, and it only comes out in the cold, and it loves to eat little Ewoks. But Wicket, he is unafraid, and he goes out with his crew, including Tebow and Kinsa, and they go out and they try to go hunting. They end up getting really cold. His brother shows up, and then, of course, the Krulok shows up and scares them away, and they run away, and turns out that the Krulok is Lo Gray and Cheap Chirpa. It's like this village sort of like hook, where they made up this creature to keep everybody in line.
Indeed. One of my favorite films.
Oh, the
What
village.
a masterpiece. Put that out in 4K, Disney, you pieces of shit.
How dare you disrespect a fellow Pennsylvanian?
I enjoyed this. My only big criticism is that there was no appearance by Teak, who I love. That one's for the true heads. All right, so the next story is the Song of Winter's Heart, and Winter's Heart is the winter festival holiday on Alderaan. And this story I thought was pretty strong. It's basically about these two characters, Rel and Max, who are childhood friends on Alderaan, and they celebrate Winter's Heart when they're kids, and then they run into each other. Then it jumps forward. They run into each other again when they're like 18, 19-year-olds. And you find out that Max is going to join the Empire. This is before of course, he's going to join the Empire, and this is before the destruction of Alderaan, of course. And the homie Rel is like, I'm nervous about this, but he's my boy, so let's just be pleasant with each other. And then we jump forward to after the destruction of Alderaan. Rel has joined the Rebel Alliance. Is on a planet that I can't remember, some sort of snow planet.
Yeah,
that's
I can't
not
remember.
Hoth.
Snowy planet.
And the Empire is possibly attacking the base, and it turns out that one of the stormtroopers is Max, his friend, his childhood friend.
He's whistling a song, like a
Yes.
traditional Alderaan song.
Oh yeah, let me sing the song for everybody.
Oh yes, please do.
Gather, all gather, and hear their tune, for winter's heart calls out for thee to rest, make merry, and feast with glee, to banish ills and gloom and fear, and keep your loved ones close and near, for winter's heart would have us see the true
heart of winter is you and me.
I think that turned into some sort of hymn tune at some point. Anyway, so they sing that song together when they're kids, and so he hears this stormtrooper humming that song, so he doesn't shoot the stormtrooper. They wind up they're out of the vision of anybody else, I guess. So they wind up being like, "Oh my God, it's you," and they have a little night together where they play games and they catch up and they enjoy each other's company as on two sides of the war, and then they go their separate ways.
Very World War I.
Yeah, they literally say no man's land at one point. Yeah, no, it's very. I mean, it's very American Civil War. It's kind of traditional way of writing stories about that war, brother against brother, etc., etc.
Two brothers.
I thought this was solid, just pretty good drama, etc.
Yeah, this one was solid. The next one is the Spirit of Life Day, where we have a planet, Manta, where during the Clone Wars, Life Day had spread to Manta. They were celebrating Life Day, and on Life Day during the Clone Wars, the droid army invaded and killed everybody in the town of Odestown. So after that, Life Day became a holiday of dread, but not only had everybody been slayed during this Life Day, but every year since, on Life Day, the spirits of everybody slayed roam the streets of Odestown, scratching at all the doors, and the people believe that the spirits are there because they want to take all of the living away. So we have a girl, her name is Emi, and she has a what is this creature? A creature named Hecta, who is basically just like a dog. And Hecta runs out of the house before the spirits show up, and she wants to go after it because she promised Hecta that she would protect Hecta no matter what. But her parents say, no, if you go out there, the spirits will get you. So anyway, she closes herself off in a room, and she busts out the window, and she goes to find Hecta. She finds Hecta, and of course gets approached by the spirits. She's fearful of them at first. She runs from them, and then she gets cornered by one, and when the spirit touches her, she sees Life Days past, and it starts with the big Clone Wars one where she sees the death and destruction, but then she sees the happy Life Days where people were joyous and celebrated, and you learn the spirits come back not to remind everybody of the dread, but to remind them to be joyous and happy to celebrate Life Day. So whenever she comes out of this flashback, she runs through the streets to tell everybody that, Life Day, we got to celebrate it. These spirits aren't going to hurt us. Everybody comes out, they celebrate, and then every year, the spirit that she meets who is, I can't remember what species he is. It's the Figrin Dan species.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Why am I forgetting the name of that species?
It's funny. Mel and I just had a conversation about this species the other day.
This is embarrassing.
It is very embarrassing because they have a store at Batu named after this species.
Okay. Figrin Dan and the modal
he's a Biff. It's a Biff.
Biff.
Yes.
Jesus.
Okay. And this one Biff is the one who takes her to Christmas Past. And after this, she saves Life Day for the town. And every year she sees this Biff, and she gives him a little wave, and then he disappears. So
yeah, that was okay.
It was very Christmas Carol.
Yeah, absolutely. These last two I really liked, though. Reflection Day is this penultimate story. It takes place on Jeddah, the planet from Rogue One. Rogue One,
which I think is actually an anniversary today. It's 5 years old today.
Oh, by the way, I texted you yesterday.
Yes, you did.
Yesterday was December 16th, and I realized it's 1 year away, the closest we have ever gotten to a release date for Avatar 2. I am so excited.
I got this text at my 5:30 a.m. and it woke me up, and I looked at my phone, and it was just like Avatar 2, 1 year away, and I was like, and I put the phone down and went back to sleep.
Get over it. I texted like 7 people that day. I just realized, because those Entertainment Weekly photos, mostly behind the scenes stuff, came out, which cool, exciting.
But we also get our first real look at the movie.
Oh, when is this? We don't.
There's the one photo.
You got me excited.
Weekly photo
because I was
actually it's still from the movie.
I almost was like, is there going to be an Avatar 2 trailer in front of Spider-Man? Because it's a year out.
Oh man, that would have been impressive.
But there wasn't, and I thought. But then I think if they're going to launch it with a movie this season, I feel like Matrix would be the one to launch it with.
Right.
But I also think they might just not be trying to do a year out because they might want to I don't know how they're planning on hyping it. But
they want that opportunity to be able to push the date back again, in my opinion.
I don't think it's going to be pushed back.
I think it's actually finally going to happen. But
we've never gotten this close to a date before it pushed. The last time they pushed it was COVID related. It was supposed to come out this year. So I feel like we're in good hands. And there's no Star Wars movie in real development right now, so that's not going to be able to take one of its dates. So I feel like we're in a good spot. We're in spitting distance of it. Very exciting. Very exciting. So yeah, the 5th anniversary of Rogue One, however, is today, and and that features the planet of Jeddah, also featured in the book Guardians of the Wills, which we reviewed it very early on this podcast.
We sure did. Kind of underwhelmed.
Yeah, I feel like we maybe were a little unfair to it. I feel like we'd like it more now if we read it now.
Maybe.
I think it's possible. It's definitely the best of the tie-in books we read.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. In terms of because all of the sequel trilogy stuff was terrible.
Yeah, it's so bad. But anyway, so this story takes place on Jeddah, and there's this day they have called Reflection Day, where pilgrims come from all around the galaxy, including Jedi, to essentially to reflect. Reflection Day. And there's a character named Zalo Black, and
you left out that there are these big mirrors.
Yes.
in a
they look
temple.
into a mirror and they literally reflect on themselves.
That's what they do. It says they're supposed to see visions or something that they want, but that's what it's. You look into a mirror. Go continue.
So yeah, there's this character Zalo Black, and he's made this pilgrimage.
A non-believer.
He's a but yeah, he's made this pilgrimage. He's interested in it anthropologically, but he's not, he's not there. And then he meets this woman, Kazmira, who
She's the one studying.
she's studying. Yeah, she's the one who's interested in anthropology.
He's only there because his dad is a big believer in the Force, and his dad thinks he's never committed to anything in his life. He's never attached on anything full-heartedly. He's done everything half-assed. You need to go to Jeddah and look into the mirrors.
Have an open mind, my guy. Relax. You'll be all right. You don't have to. Nobody's forcing you to believe anything.
It's funny now that I think about this one. This is like the most like Richard Linklater of the stories, where it's
it's very kind of like it's like a before sunrise kind of.
Yeah, it really is.
I liked it a lot. This one's one of my favorites. It might, in some ways, this one and the Alderaan one are probably like the best stories in this.
Probably.
There are two other ones, the Ewok one we talked about, and the last one coming up that I enjoyed more on like a dork level. But yeah, this one's solid. I liked it, and so they do it. They look in the mirror, and he's like, is this going to be the turning point? You know what I mean? Like, does he think can my life change in this moment? Can I find something? And also him and Kazmira get kind of separated before they go in. And like, he thinks he's never going to see her again. So like, he's like, is this reflection going to like give me the courage basically to go after her basically? Cause they got a thing. They got
they're wanting to hold hands.
They want to hold hands. They want to kiss. They may want to fuck. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like whenever I reference my like horniness from the early part of this show, like with Obi-Wan and the one whatever, like those episodes,
Zarasi or the princess or Siri.
Yeah, I feel like anytime I reference those, I'm probably being more ridiculous than I was at the time. Like I'm doing more crazy like voices and stuff. I don't know. I have to go back and listen to them. I apologize if people don't like those. They probably don't. So anyway, and then they reconnect afterwards, and they're like, "Oh, the Force brought us together," etc.
Yeah, he sees her in the mirror, and he's like, "Oh, it's what I want," and it's like, "No, I'm right behind you," and it's what he wanted.
Nice little story.
Yep.
So we got
the final story.
So it's the Tree of Life, and this one opens. It's prehistoric Earth. And there's dinosaurs roaming around, and it's all very like, oh, I didn't think this was going to be how it opened. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa,
it's kind of like the opening of Waterfront Down, where they're like explaining the myth of the rabbit. Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Yeah. Oh, I was just making a joke about the Tree of Life. The Terrence Malick movie.
Oh, the Terrence Malick film. I forgot about that one. I missed Tree of Life. Sorry.
This story is called The Tree of Life, which is important Life Day talk. And so we see Adachitchuk, who, of course, is Chewbacca's father.
Also known as Itchy.
Indeed, Itchy himself. And we got Chewbacca's son, Loompa Warump, also known as Lumpy, although he does not want to be called Lumpy anymore. No more Lumpy. He wants to be called, what was it again? Something like that. Why am I?
Hang on, let me find it.
Wario! Wario!
Yeah, you got a Super Mario shirt on. I can't believe Waluigi's on that too.
I know, it's just both brother pairs going on.
And of course, Mala's there, Chewbacca's wife. This is kind of a retelling of Holiday Special, without the Empire or the porn or Jefferson Starship or the animated segment. It's basically just Chewbacca's family getting ready for Life Day and hoping that Chewbacca comes home. And I find it kind of odd an odd choice that Chewbacca is like an absent father. I
Yeah,
don't
and it's
think
like, listen, Wookiees live a fucking long time. This kid's like a baby for not
Yeah, I know.
for being
I
that.
know. Well, hang on. They do make
Wait, what were you saying?
old. He's like an old man at 400. So that means like Chewie is only like 100 years away from being like old, right? Because Chewie's
Yeah.
300. Yeah.
I think, isn't he 200?
Maybe he is 200. All
I
right,
think-
then maybe Chewie's only at his half-life.
Yeah, he's
But-
like 40.
But
40.
but Lumpy or Waru, who misses his father desperately. As I read this book, this story, I was constantly making all of Lumpy's noises, like like just little tiny sounds. So anyway, but this story explains what the sphere is at the end of not A New Hope, the holiday special, because the special notoriously ends with them holding a sphere of some sort, and Leia, of course, singing the Life Day song.
Which I thought about. If I was looking to see if there was a karaoke video.
I did too. I looked that up too. But all there is the Bill Murray Lounge Singer Star Wars karaoke. I did find that.
Oh, you want to do that?
You could do that.
Let's do it together.
Okay.
Can I share a screen or whatever?
I don't know. You could try.
Okay, let me see if I can. I didn't know the Bill Murray Lounge Singer. That's great. We gotta do it. It's something special.
I'll finish the story.
I cannot minimize Zoom when I'm recording this meeting. Wow.
Oh, weird.
Can
I
you,
screen share?
I might be able to let you. Let me.
I can screen share.
Okay.
Host, you have disabled screen sharing.
Oh, where? Okay, give me a second. All right, we'll figure it out. Just you keep talking about the story.
Okay, and so Mala, she gets out the orb, and basically what the orb is a giant Christmas ornament that each family has one, and you hang it on the Tree of Life, which all life in the galaxy stems from. So she asks Lumpy if he wants to hold it, and he goes, and he doesn't want to hold it. He's afraid he's going to break it. And so they're like, all right. So Mala, Lumpy, and Itchy, they go to the Tree of Life for the ceremony. They don their red robes, and they go to the tree. And it's at this point, Lumpy, he's just like, man, I'm not feeling the spirit. And he takes the orb. He's going to hold the orb, and he runs off with the orb, and he's looking at the orb. And he gets startled, and he stands up, and he hits his head on a tree branch because he's a growing boy. He doesn't know how tall he is. And he drops the orb, and it shatters into 1,000 pieces. And it's at this point Chewbacca shows up. His dad finds him. He's crying over the orb. Chewbacca doesn't say a word. Chewbacca, he goes, he takes Lumpy, they go to the Falcon. This is where we have some hilarious Han moments where Han's like, hey, what's going on here? And Chewbacca, he takes a light bulb out of the Falcon, and this becomes the new family orb, and they go back to the Tree of Life. And is this a scene from Master and Commander as your background desktop, Tim?
Yes, of course.
Very nice.
One of my favorite movies.
And they go back to the tree, and they hang the new orb on the tree. And this is where, you get some funny moments where Han is saying, like, oh, you're a growing boy. But anyway, as I was reading the Han parts, I definitely heard Albert Brooks the entire time.
Listen, Albert Brooks, he should have played Han.
He should have.
Yeah, fuck Harrison Ford. God, my computer is going so slow.
I know. It seems to be lagging so hard that I'm like, there's no way I can do this karaoke with you. There's no, you moved, your mouse has moved a total of 3 times since you started sharing your screen.
Well, it'll be fine. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
Okay. All right.
All right, but let's just. This story, obviously, it is very much the holiday special, but I enjoy it. I just love reading Waru and Lumpy and Itchy like that.
I do too. They named Mala's mother too in this story. And yeah, this was a fun story. Okay, my final thoughts on this in terms of like the 3 stories. This is my least favorite of the 3 books.
Yeah, I could see that. I thought the theme, like, it just, my problem with it is that you kind of ultimately, you come to the same, it's hard to say. You come to a lot of the same, types of stories, like the same conclusions at the end of each story. So I thought there were 2 or 3 very strong ones, but I thought the weak ones were like extremely forgettable. Like
Mm-hmm.
we were struggling, I feel like, to come up with
Yeah.
things to say about some of these.
The Kindling, I think, was the weakest of all of them.
Yeah. Do we have any sense of the division of labor here? Whether these stories were all written collaboratively, or if they were.
They don't give any authorship to the individual stories, so we do not know how this worked out. Unless, hang on, let me check. Oh, now I'm in full screen mode. How do I get out of full screen?
Probably my shared screen is a problem, is my guess.
Okay, I can set it to 50%. Nope, I can't. Anyway.
This is a disaster.
Are you still on the Google homepage?
It's like taking so long. Let's look at, like, my cursor is moving just fine. I don't know what the internet's doing. Like, all right, so I'm waiting for this to load. So we've been
after about 10 minutes.
We've been through a lot here. We're trying to figure out
10 minutes of difficult.
We're trying to figure it out. Somehow this fucking karaoke video is being such a pain in the ass. Still barely loading for me, which is, I don't understand. I don't know what's going on. Also, why?
And we've discovered, too, it's not even like a karaoke song. It is literally just the Star Wars theme, the John Williams theme, with the karaoke lyrics over it.
Yeah, which, that's unfortunate in my opinion. But you won't be hearing that.
A minute and a half.
This is a disaster. This is a complete and utter catastrophe that's happening right now. Come on. What the fuck? All right, it's coming. Give me a second. I need to get...
Okay. All right.
Just the black box of the video and then white all around it is what I'm seeing right now. So don't get too excited. This is like, I apologize to all our listeners. I'm going to have to cut some of this. This episode, we were like, this will be like an hour-long episode. This is a disaster. And now the page is unresponsive. What the fuck? Why is Zoom such a pain in the ass, apparently? Oh, my God. All right. I apologize to everyone. We might have to just wrap up.
With the audio of me doing the Lounge Singer sketch.
What?
Why don't you just end the episode with Bill Murray doing like the sketch? Just put the audio of the sketch at the end.
I'll have to do it myself if we do that, so I'll figure it out. You don't need to participate anymore. I've kept you too long.
Well, you don't even have to just put the SNL sketch at the end of the episode.
It's not even a Christmas or a Life Day themed thing. It was the only karaoke Star Wars track we could find on YouTube. Okay, well,
we tried.
We tried. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for listening this whole year. We'll be back in the new year on January 14th to discuss Rebel Force number 4, or Firefight, I believe, right? And yes, and I think Backdraft is the film we chose to discuss.
I think it is too. Yep.
So we'll be talking about that January 14th. Get excited for that. We might have a bonus episode in the middle here. We'll talk about that offline and we'll figure that out. But otherwise, definitely come back January 14th. But thank you guys very much.
Yes, happy Life Day. We appreciate you. And until the books are due back.
Which is January 14th. The library is closed.
Yes.
Hey, younglings, this is Tim. So, after all those technical difficulties you just suffered through, we realized that we failed to give the Life Day Treasury a rating. Now, it's 1 a.m. on a Saturday, so I'm not going to call Levi and ask him for his rating. I'll give you mine, and I will surmise his rating based on his comments. So I'm going to give the Life Day Treasury a 6 out of 10. I think 3 to 4 of the stories are quite good, and I think the rest are pretty much forgettable. He seemed a little more down on the book than me, so I'm going to assume Levi would give it a 4. Now, if he wants to correct this, he can correct it when the next time we record. So, regardless, until we return, I do want to give you guys a little present. I had promised that I would record a karaoke version of the Bill Murray Star Wars lounge singer sketch from Saturday Night Live, and I did that, so here it is.
Star Wars, don't let them end. Star Wars, if they should bar wars, please let these Star Wars stay. And hey, how about that nutty Star Wars bar? Can you forget all the creatures in there? And hey, Darth Vader in that black and evil mask, did he scare you as much as he scared me?